And today on the show, we're going to be talking about preparation. And when I'm filming this, it's called the golden hour, so I didn't actually get frosted tips in my hair for this presentation. That's just the glorious sunshine in Michigan in fall. If you were going to build a brewery like Third Nature is behind me, you wouldn't just get up one day and start throwing up metal and hope that you figure it out. So in order to talk about preparation, we have to talk about process.
And for me, my process is simple. Starts with two things. One, this set of Sharpie pens, and two, my Code and Quill notebook. The reason I pick Code and Quill, and there are a million journals you can pick, you can obviously choose whatever you want. I like it because it's huge, so I can write a lot. So when you're doing 20, 30, or 40-minute presentations, I'm not on a smaller sort of writing surface. I've got a lot of surface to play with, but most importantly, it does this. It lays flat, so I can go across both pages. And you can see, right, I tend to do some doodling. And the reason that I do that, guys, is because when I handwrite the video that we're doing right here, or the presentation that I'm going to do, and I write it all out, it helps it to commit to memory, because the goal for me is to never have notes when I'm doing a presentation or doing a video, right? If you were able to see the peripheral of what's going on here, there are no cue cards. I'm just going on what I wrote before I sat down to start talking to you. So for me, it's these, because I can kind of color coordinate and keep sketching and doodling, and Code and Quill. Again, you can pick whatever one you want, but I like it because it's huge and it does that. The next thing I do, take your idea for a walk. We're about 10 minutes away from my house, and if I stop talking for a second, you will hear nothing but nature. And so the trick is, when you have an idea, don't bring a device, don't bring any headphones, just go for a walk and watch the idea kind of percolate and turn it into something new. It'll actually evolve while you're walking. So go out, find some nature, and take your idea for a walk. And my favorite tip is to start with the crazy idea first. In fact, I tried to get Jack's full Batman costume on, but it wouldn't work, so we went with this, because I want you to remember to start with the crazy idea first. Why? Well, because if you get in the habit of starting with the crazy idea and then circling around into the one that will actually work, you give yourself all of this space to play. And in that space, amazing stuff happens. Like, I'll give you an example. This past May, I wrote a sermon. Yes, those types of sermons. I have no place to give a sermon. I really have no permission needed to write a sermon, but I had no place to give it. But I was just doing it. So I wrote a sermon that was called How to Win at Christianity, where I played around with game theory, the book of James, and some other stuff. And I wrote this thing and never used it. May, wrote the thing. But out of that came a whole bunch of things I ended up using in other spaces, because I allowed myself to go, well, that's kind of a crazy idea. I don't know why you think you should do that, but let's go do it anyway. So we went through the process, and then we took out of that what we weren't able to use in its original form and used it elsewhere. So this tip, start with the crazy idea. And if you have a Batman mask, you should certainly put it on. Be early to your events at all times, so you can kind of get a lay of the space, feel of how it's going to go, and have a better sense of what you need to do once you get over there. And the last tip is this. We're in a movie theater, there's a huge screen behind me, and if I was giving a presentation, the number one tip I would give you is try not to read them the slides. Nothing turns an audience out faster than if you turn around and start reading them the slides. So create a presentation where the slides behind you actually bring value to the talk that you're giving. And you do that by going back to step one and handwriting your notes. So please, in 2019, whatever you're doing, if you're in HR, if you're in banking, if you work for the PTA, it doesn't matter. Do me a favor and don't read the slides.